everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be talking about reviewing and analyzing chapter 1049 of One Piece. I'm super hyped, I'm super ecstatic, something I've been waiting chapters upon chapters upon has finally happened, so I'm finally excited to, break that down, discuss that with you guys. If this is your first time on this channel, first of all, thank you for coming here. If this is your first time on this channel or you've been here before, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Would mean the absolute world to me. This isn't my normal setup. I've been changing studios, at least this is probably like my fourth or fifth studio change since I started doing this like 2 years ago. I've moved again, and this probably isn't going to be my last spot, but this is the setup for now. Not gonna lie, big fan of the backdrop. A while ago, a friend of mine hooked me up with this One Piece blanket, and I've never really gotten much use out of it, and I really loved it because a friend gave it to me, and she knew I love One Piece and stuff, so this was really dope. And so was looking around my room, and I was like, damn, chapter 1049 of One Piece just came out, and I don't really have a proper studio set up. I wish you guys could see the space I'm in right now. It looks terrible. And I was like, let me just stand up against the wall and record like I did in my last video. But I was like, I really hated how bland it looked. And then I saw the One Piece blanket and I was like, And I put it up and honestly did a test shot, kind of like how it looks. So who knows? This might be a regular thing. Let me know if you like One Piece backdrop. Maybe I'll get other My Hero and other anime blankets and stuff, or just posters, and just every time I do a review on it, just that'd be interesting, right? Anyway, I digress. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into the review. Alright everyone, so chapter 1049 of One Piece, chaptered The World You Wish For, right? And so, obviously, gotta start off once again with the cover page. You know I love cover stories, and this one's about the German. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, for the longest time, I thought it was simply Ichiji and, Raiju, right? And the reason for that mainly was just because, who else would come back to save them specifically? Also, we did have that silhouette where it looked like Germa raid suit capes. However, a bunch of YouTubers have been making a big stink about the fact that they weren't wearing Germa 66 boots, which at the time I kind of wasn't thinking about, but I guess that is a fair point, right? But then last chapter, we had Brûlé with her hand in the mirror saying essentially Ichiji and Reiju were here. And also, once again, kind of nervous about that because I forgot that in order to stay connected to the mirror world, you have to keep part of yourself in the mirror. So someone could easily be taking on her appearance. Some people start saying, Katarina Devos or whatever. Who knows at this point? At this point, I'm just not gonna overthink it because, once you start overthinking things, it can go to the moon and back. I literally started making a checklist of everyone that has fire powers in One Piece that it could possibly be, Sabo, Ace, King, blah, 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 Oven, blah, 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 and making up reasons why or why not they wouldn't be here at this time, Marco. And I was just like, it doesn't make sense. I'm just going to stick with the Germa 66. If Oda throws in a loophole, just something to throw me off, all right, whatever, cool, you got me. But right now, I'm just going Occam's razor. The simplest solution is most likely the right one, and it's just the Germa 66 siblings coming to rescue their family. That's what we'll leave it at. Anyway, getting into this monumentous chapter, we come back to where we left off with Kaido the Gatekeeper just once again telling Luffy, you can't live up to your dreams. This is where it stops for you. You're never going to change the world. And then we finally get what I've been waiting tons of chapters for, and that's the Kaido backstory. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was kind of expecting some more. I kind of wanted some other things from this, but nonetheless, this was a really cool backstory that gave us some real insight into who Kaido is as a character. So we start off with him as 10 years old, it was so trippy to see a young Kaido, by the way. He looks so different. But at 10 years old, we found out that, pimping started early for Kaido, right? At 10 years old, he was already the strongest soldier in his kingdom. Which, by the way, can I just say I absolutely loved the fact that his kingdom is the kingdom of vodka. It makes sense that, Kaido grew up to be a drunk. Like, how could you not when you come from a kingdom called Kingdom of Vodka, right? And so anyway, we see a little older Kaido, and the kingdom apparently is talking about how they have to stay at war. The money and stuff they make from war is the only way they can pay, the heavenly tribulation to the celestial dragons, right? And Kaido's kind of miffed about this. He's like, yo, why do we have to pay these guys? Why do we have to listen to the world government? Like, to him, he's like, yo, I'm Kaido. From everything I've learned, like, being around you guys, like, might equals right. And so, like, if we're just strong, why aren't we the ones, at the helm of the world? Why are we paying others, right? And I don't know, the flashbacks are kind of coming really, really quick. Kind of wish Oda didn't do it in this fashion. We're getting flashback after flashback with little context after little context. And then right after he says something, like says what I just said, something happens where essentially they send him, they made a deal with the Marines to, have him work for the Marines, and in exchange that they would get to, be part of the next reverie. And as we all know, is greatly important, really rises the status of your kingdom and lets you have a say in what happens in the world, right? And so Kaido obviously is not cool with this. He's like, you want me to be a dog of the world government? That's when the Marine makes the offer. And I honestly think it's kind of BS, because I checked on YouTube, not YouTube, on Google, and Kingdom of Vodka wasn't even at the last reverie. And I don't think they were at a past reverie. So either the Marines lied, or maybe they didn't abide by the deal because they never actually got Kaido. But which, by the way, I think it's super interesting how we've seen repeatedly how the Marines are constantly trying to recruit people. We saw how they do it with the giant kids and how they get them from nefarious means. They don't care how they get people, who they get. They just know that they want strong people in the Marines so that they can further, spread their propaganda, so they can further, control the might of the world. And I think Kaido is kind of understanding that, right? And so we get these, sequence of hilarious other flashbacks where, like, it's like, oh no, where did Kaido go? I don't know, he escaped again. And someone said there's a rumor that he allows himself to be caught when he's hungry. And I absolutely was dying from that, because that honestly seems like such, like, not just a Kaido thing, but like something like someone like Luffy would do. And I could really get behind that kind of like behavior. Just like, you're so strong that, oh whatever, I'm hungry anyway, I don't feel like running anymore, I'll go back. So then eventually he goes to Full of Lead Island, which is the base of Whitebeard, of course. And I think he wants to fight Whitebeard, but somehow Whitebeard basically says, no, I'm not trying to fight you, but come meet, Rocks. Rocks is interested in you, right? And so all of a sudden he joins the Rocks Pirates, right? And so he's in the Rocks Pirates, and, he's needed to go to, God Valley Island. He goes to God Valley Island, but I'm assuming he like ran away or something, because it looks like Big Mom is the one who's talking to him, and she's like, and we find out that, like, and I'm so sad that they're just like brushing through these like really monumentous, really important events, and I'm hoping that we'll get more into that later. Also, I want to do a video titled like types of One Piece movies I want to see. It's kind of has something to do with Film Red, but like, I'm just kind of getting these like non-canon filler movies, and there are types of movies that I think Oda and the studios could really do that are completely canon to the story of One Piece, and just fill in little, like, just add to the world building. It doesn't have to be anything relevant to the main plot, that way it doesn't interfere with stuff. But anyway, that's a time for later. So anyway, where was I? So yeah, when you have the likes of Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Rocks himself, and I forget what other monsters were on the Rocks pirate crew, it just seems like there is no way that they were defeated. Now you hear some chatter about how like Garp's Garp did it, but we know that, like, as the readers, we know that he didn't do it alone. He did it with the help of Roger. And I think what ended up happening, and the reason Garp hates talking about that day, is essentially we had a Smoker Luffy situation where he had to get help from a pirate. He definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without Roger. And because of that, you know, the higher ups in the Marines were like, well, we're not giving that story. We're not telling that story at all. So this sounds much better. You did that shit all on your own, all right? We're going to spread that. You're going to be the hero Marines. We'll give you a promotion, the whole 9. And he was like, nah, I'm not about that. I'm not about, like, what we represent and, like, the lies we tell, right? And so Big Mom, someone, you hear a rumor, someone saying something along the lines of, no, it was a lot of infighting, so that makes a lot of sense. Maybe they all wanted to see who was more powerful, and, like, the only reason they joined the crew in the first place was so they had access to each other to be fighting each other. I don't know. That's just like me spitballing right now, right? And so also Big Mom says, where is Kaido? So maybe he fled. Who the hell knows? So then we get another really brash. We're just running through these flashbacks. We get a flashback of Kaido, I presume, is finally on Wano. And then we have Orochi's, who is it? Grandmother or whatever, the one that had the face fruit, the one that could let you change your appearance, right? The one that rigged the fight with Odin. And she's talking to Kaido about all these plans and, like, how, you know, basically what I said earlier, might equals right and it rules the world. And so Kaido's talking about how, like, the world, the balance of power in the world is going to be split amongst all of Rock's former crewmates. So maybe, like, and it does make sense that, like, all the Yonko were all from that crew, and it seems like Kaido just had this grandiose plan where it's like, screw the Marines, we need to have a force to make sure these people aren't the sole people ruling and dictating the entire world. So kind of, in a way, Kaido was kind of good for the world in some ways, but I can't condone what he did in Wano, right? And so what I think ended up happening was he heard the lore of Joy Boy, and then he heard about how, you know, Wano is supposed to be the land that opens its gates for the Joy Boy. And I think it's kind of crazy, but I think what ended up happening was, you know, Kaido just became so disillusioned with life, so disillusioned with the way of the world, and he was so desperate for, like, a meaningful, impactful death. He spent his entire life, and the crazy part is, like, I think after realizing he couldn't be Joy Boy, completely turned heel and decided if he can't be Joy Boy, he will be the person that ushers in Joy Boy into the world. And that's what will make his death glorious, being defeated by the Joy Boy. And you see in, you know, the panels later on, like, he's him telling King, I know who the Joy Boy is, right? And then we get that reveal at the end, who he said the Joy Boy is. So phenomenal flashback. Kind of wanted to see some more stuff from Kaido's flashback. Kind of to see more of his relationship with Big Mom. Kind of wanted to see if there was anything to my whole he was a Oni runt, like, theory, kind of like that. Kind of wanted to see him be betrayed, but we didn't get any of that. Kind of wanted to see, you know, something about his awakening, which I'm going to talk about towards the end. So that kind of bothered me a bit. So after this flashback, we snap back to reality, and, you know, we see one of the CP0 agents just shunpoing away, right? Just skywalking, just the mess away. I think he's kind of realized that the battle is pretty much almost over at this point, that there's going to be a winner, and regardless of who the winner is, you know, he needs to take steps and measures to either get the fuck out of Dodge or, you know, to launch their counterattack, right? And so I'm just going to assume he is on his way to the ships, which, once again, I really do think that, you know, Zunisha should easily be able to take care of. But, you know, maybe they brought some, you know, heavy artillery with them. Maybe they brought a vice admiral or an admiral or something with them. Who knows? I doubt it, but, you know, it's still a possibility, right? We go over to Momo and Yamato, who are still rooting for Luffy, still cheering him on. And meanwhile, Momo is still trying to get these flame clouds going to no avail. So hopefully that succeeds, is what I'm thinking at this point in the chapter, right? And so probably the funniest part of the entire chapter is Raizo and Jinbei. Like, I can't tell which one of them is screaming, so I'm just gonna assume it's both of them. And they're like, the waters of Zou are with the waters of Zou, we're going to save everyone. And it is preceded by panel after panel after panel of mofos drowning, specifically devil fruit users, just drowning. And I literally could not stop ugly laughing while reading it, and just like panel after panel after panel of just like, what's going on? Right after Jinbei and Raizo go, we're going to save everyone, they proceed to like drown everyone, and it is the peak of fiction comedy. And so I think they're going to be fine. Obviously, I think they'll the water itself will either drain out the bottom, or they'll all drain out the bottom with it, and then, you know, someone will catch them, someone's ability will soften the landing. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. But anyway, due to the water, I think the water does kind of put out the rest of the flame clouds. And so in that moment, Momo does call forth the flame clouds and have them surround Onigashima, and I guess the day is saved until the end of the chapter, right? Oh, also during this time we get some panels with Hiyori and Denjiro. Not gonna lie, I know this is supposed to be like emotionally impactful and stuff, but like I am just not feeling like anything with the scabbards right now. They did their parts. You know, a lot of them are really cool. And like I heard a different YouTuber say something like, as a collective they're cool, but like, no, as a collective I don't care about them, but as individuals they were cool. Like, I don't know. I know I'm supposed to care, and I know this is supposed to be like really impactful, and they defeated Orochi and stuff like that, but like, I don't know. Whatever Oda was trying to go for with all these Orochi killings kind of missed me with it. Like last chapter, I said something along the lines of, maybe he's not even dead here. Maybe just every single person that Orochi has caused pain to is going to get, you know, their comeuppance, and they're all going to get a chance to kill him before like the permanent solution is found. But I should have known when Oda was doing the parallel with, you know, King's last fire attack, Kaido being on fire, and now Orochi being on fire and resembling these flaming dragons. Like, okay, all of them died right after, you know, using their fire dragon attacker being, you know, a fire dragon. So of course that would happen to him. Just something that rubs me the wrong way is that despite all the horrendous, atrocious things that Orochi did, it was at the hands of the, you know, the Kazuki clan and, you know, the Samurai of Wano. Like, two wrongs don't make a right, but like they started that shit. And because of his grandma, and he wasn't part of that. And it's just kind of like, you know, violence begets violence. Like, this isn't Naruto kind of stuff, right? So I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way that like that's kind of not being addressed, that they made the monster. And I know that in the past Oda has kind of touched on that. Like a great example would be Doflamingo and Corazon. Like, you know, they both came from the same place, you know, the same atrocities were committed to them, but one decided to be evil, the other decided to be good. So like Oda has already established that like there's a choice involved, but still it bothers me a little. That's all I can really say about it, okay? Yeah. And so anyway, to finish off the chapter, you know, Kaido decides to ask, you know, Luffy, what kind of world does he wish to live in? And my theory is that this is exactly what Roger said, and this is what Luffy said to you know, Sabo and Ace when they were young, and what Luffy said to Riley that made him say, oh, he said the exact same thing the Pirate King said. And he essentially says, I wish for a world in which all of my friends can eat like as much as they want, or like something along the lines of they can eat as much as they want, they can eat forever, like they can eat as much as they would like, blah blah blah, yada yada, right? And so there's a big theory going on around that like the One Piece, or at the end of One Piece, they're all gonna have a feast. That's a theory I've had for quite some time. I'm not a big YouTuber, so I never got to flesh it out, but I really did think that Luffy wanted to have a big feast, a big party where everyone could sing, dance, be happy, laugh, be merry, just like he always grew up watching Shanks do. And then, you know, they can also drink the sake and all become brothers. I also thought maybe there was a theory that like everyone in the world can become brothers or something like that. So that would be really cool to see. So that's what Luffy says. And literally in that moment, I think it was supposed to be representative of his willpower bolstering. Like he declared that's what he wants. And in that moment, you kind of see Kaido's eyes just kind of go, what? Blank out, loses consciousness. And it's in that moment where Luffy just blow, hits him to the ground. And it is KO! So Kaido is defeated. Also, I was really confused. There was a panel where there was a dragon laid out, and I was like, damn, they did Kaido dirty. No, apparently, Momo less than moved the island, kind of just slowed its fall. And so, like, him and Onigashima are on the ground, passed out. So, I was really confused about that, too. I didn't catch it until I read the color panels, and then I went back to make sure, like, the people doing the color panels didn't mess up. So, yeah, this is a really, really honestly solid chapter. I'm not going to say it's tremendous only because I had a couple qualms. The two qualms I did have were, one, I just haven't really felt satiated with like the endings of like any of these fights. I kind of had this idea of how I wanted them to all go or end in my head, and it didn't happen. And I want to make a point that doesn't mean this ending is necessarily bad. It just like, I don't know, it feels weird. I have this thing in the nagging suspicion in the back of my head that like there's supposed to be more, and like it bothers me that, you know, I've been saying maybe it's bothering me because I look stupid now, but like for a lot of my reviews I've been saying, you know, Kaido has to be defeated in front of everyone. Like Luffy's last punch is going to send them flying in the center of the fire festival, and everyone's going to see this dude that's been holding them captive defeated. Like, they're not going to be told about it, they're going to witness it, and they're going to see above him, you know, their hero, their savior, Joy Boy, Monkey D. Luffy, blah 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 blah. These mother have not noticed this entire fight taking on this entire time. It's actually kind of wild. It's actually kind of baffling. I don't understand how you don't see the water, you don't see the laser beams, you don't see the rail gun, you don't see the punked Willy, the Willy puncture and all that stuff. You don't see the, did I say water already? You don't see the giant fire. You don't hear the hockey classes. You don't see, like, there is way too much going on for them not to have noticed. I'm sorry, I'm losing it a little bit, but like, I was just like, are you shitting me right now? So that bothers me. Also, we never got any confirmation on Kaido's awakening. Like, I really thought that this was like the final stretch. I didn't think this was going to be it for Kaido. I thought we were going to get like one more thing. We were going to get his awakening and then it would be done. So I think my original theory about how he's just already awakened and the abilities like the, like, I don't want to say the flame clouds because, you know, Momo's doing it right now, but like the electricity, the way, like maybe all the elemental stuff he can do is part of his awakening. Maybe the stuff Big Mom was doing is part of her awakening. Like, I don't think it's that crazy to believe that they've had their Devil Fruits for so long, it's awakened, and they don't have the weaknesses that, you know, Law, Kid, and Luffy have where it's taxing on them. Maybe it is taxing on them, but they've trained with it so long that, you know, it's not that bad. We saw Doflamingo when he used his awakening, he used it for quite some time. And these guys have not only had their Devil Fruits longer than Doflamingo, but they're way more powerful. So, you know, it does kind of make sense to me. But anyway, that's it. I'm not upset. It was a good chapter. I'm just like, just clarify so the fandom can just stop worrying about it. Is he awakened? Is he not awakened? Do we see his awakening? Is he going to awaken? Like, I really do think the fight's done because I didn't think the Queen fight was done when it was done. I kind of figured the King fight was done. And then like this one, it feels done. It feels like with, you know, how Oda paired Orochi. Now I think Orochi's dead too. How Oda paired the Orochi thing with the, you know, the flame lantern, and now we have, you know, Kaido with the flame lantern, and then, you know, maybe I was thinking that maybe, you know, the water from Zunisha was going to get evaporated by Kaido's fire and then cause, you know, the water that got evaporated to turn into rain and then rain down, and that would be a perfect ending. But like, yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff that like I'm just wanting Oda to type that's not being tied up, and maybe he'll get to it. Maybe this is just me being impatient. This is the shitty thing about reading week to week. You know, but I think I'll leave it here. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Anyway, sorry that got a little bit ranty. Sorry that got a little bit tangential. Didn't really have a script, so just decided to riff it. But yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means the absolute world to me. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, your boy OD. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And please hit me up in my my comments. I love to talk to you guys. Ask any questions. Call me out on anything I said. Correct any mistakes I made. Let's talk about it. That's what the community is all about. Anyway, peace. Take care. I'm out.